Can you hear everything?
Guys, check, 1, 2.
Oh.
Put the needle on the record.
Perfect.
I was born in a lighthouse. My mother was the sea.
I had a dream the other night that our special guest today was John Stamos. And me and John had a whole bunch of inside jokes, and you, Tanya, didn't think was funny. So
I got some Stamos stories. Take this one off the air. I see you're wide. Can I chill back like this, you guys?
Oh, that's perfect.
TNT?
Yeah. And T. We're all 3 T's.
There is a third T, but some know her as Dynamite.
We're all perpendicular.
Stripper pole.
Is that okay?
Hello.
Wow. We're all here. We've been on a bit of a hiatus for a while. This is our first time all in the studio together for like 3 months.
Shit.
Yeah, so we're coming fresh off the bench.
So this will be clumsy.
So you're going to be a good buffer for us to knock the rust off.
So I don't get headphones. We don't have any more. Yeah, that's usually the way it goes.
Welcome back to Pleasure. You're welcome to my headphones if you like.
Please.
They're not on. I
Just drop.
I think they look cool.
This is definitely, the most is that a Steadicam? Is that like the Stanley Kubrick? Are y'all gonna film us walking through an ice maze later?
It can be arranged. Where's Eric? Y'all ditch Eric?
They're cleaning up on the other.
He's on cleanup crew. That makes sense.
Yeah. Eric's been on the hunt for a new water bottle. He won't fucking shut up about it.
That sounds like Eric.
I had one.
Yeah, you've met Eric. How about that?
Yeah.
He had one from Colombia and he lost it.
The country?
I don't know. I didn't. You don't ask him questions.
You have been fully acquainted with Eric.
He's taken very good care of us.
That's good.
Yeah, I think.
That's good. That's a massive camera. Is this a camera? What is that?
I know. I have so much stage fright right now.
Is that still called a Zeppelin?
A blimp.
Yeah.
This thing is crazy.
Make your own brand and call it a dirigible.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you guys all seem much younger than me? But we used to have this weed thing that was from a previous generation, called a Zeppelin, and it was a big rubber squeeze bottle that had one of those look like a tempura paint top with a point.
Yeah.
And you unscrew it, and there's a brass little trumpet, and you light a joint and put it in there firmly. Screw it together. And then when you squeeze it, it forces the air.
Nice.
So this stream of smoke comes out.
Right.
And you could like throw it around.
Right. You can still do that with like the vape things. I'm sure they've even got that for actual smoke, but.
Yeah, I guess joint tricks aren't really that necessary anymore.
What with the gravity bong?
Yes.
That's the admin of the gravity.
Eat this cookie.
We just dab now.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like drinking games. Like, if you've got to play a game to get your rocks off, it's...
You're right.
I don't know, just get straight to the point.
That's a great point. It reminds me of adding the fashion of adding shit to bacon.
Right.
What the fuck is wrong with bacon?
As it is.
Flavored bacon? Like.
It's an example of too many elements.
Yeah.
You know, you can have too much fusion, and that's one of them.
This might be too much fusion.
If it ain't broke.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I think I'm of the opinion that synthesis ruined pod. You know, you had this perfectly shamanic drug, and then before you know it, we're gonna be getting cancer from the fucking yellow, orange, purple Kush.
Right.
So where's the mix going?
Thanks for blowing my buzz, man.
Yeah, me too.
Tom's a cop. Well, once Philip Morris gets a hold of it, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, is that what synthesis refers to?
I guess that's what I was getting at, you know.
Yeah.
I wrote them a letter in like '88 and was like, check this out, Marlboro Green. Get out in front of it, man. It's coming.
Damn. It's gonna come out. You know how it came out all these years later that like Exxon knew about climate change all these years. Well, some whistleblower or some investigative reporter is going to dig up that letter. It's like Nick Offerman
Tried to tell you in
in 88.
Trying to throw y'all off.
Yeah.
Get out in front of it.
Before he became a snowflake.
Before he became a snowflake.
It's all those progressive women you hang out with, Amy and Megan.
Hell yeah.
Made you soft.
And then some.
Speaking of TV, I got a few TV ideas for some shows. I've already pitched one of them to Tom.
Legally, I can't hear your.
Okay, all right. Well, it's good thing it's satire.
I can hear them satirically.
But you're satirically.
Very strictly.
I will ironically listen.
That's what most of our listeners do.
That's what, yeah.
Thousands of ironic listeners.
We deeply advise you to listen ironically.
Let's hear it.
Do you know the show Friends? You ever heard of it?
Yeah, that was Schwimmer's earlier show, right?
It was his earlier work before he became like John Cassavetes.
Sold out and was Robert Kardashian.
Yeah, right. I got an idea about a couple of coal miners that have to move to Brooklyn to learn how to code, called Friends of Coal. It's just called Friends of Coal. I had the jingle. It was down. Nobody told you life was gonna be this way. Obama'd come and shut. Wait. You'd have to move. You'd have to move to Brooklyn because of the EPA. Obama shut down all the power plants, and then some hippies came along and they rode a bunch of grants. We'll be friends of coal.
You're very good at comedy.
Thank you.
Don't blow him up any bigger.
That shit is funny.
I think he was being ironic.
No, I was not.
I've also got one.
Hang on. Hulu just texted me back. They're picking you up for 6 episodes.
Are they picking us up? Fuck yeah, we did it.
But you have to cast Mario Lopez. Welcome to showbiz, motherfucker.
Tom's out, Lopez is in.
I got good news and bad news.
All right, we could work with that. I could work with Mario Lopez.
He's classically trained.
Yeah.
He's probably a Disney kid, right?
Probably.
That sounds right.
If anybody's a Mouseketeer, it's fucking Lopez.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, all the cameras
They say
are
he
getting
has
shot with
no
the other
genitals at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If you do you think a la National Lampoon that you would ever work this podcast into an actual sketch show?
I'd love to do that.
Has it been discussed?
If we had the money and the resources.
Man, I would click on that video.
Would you?
Hell yeah.
We've thought about it.
Eric's been pushing us. He wants to produce it.
Shopping around a little bit.
Yeah, we're not ready for our.
No.
All right, I don't want to push.
My second TV idea is. Hey, y'all are just
settle in.
Y'all are just if y'all are just rolling, just it's called The Handyman's Tale. It's like The Handmaiden's Tale, but it's you in it. You're in it.
You don't have to say it's like The Hand.
Yeah, you're right. That's comedy. I forgot. Yeah. That's how comedy works. You don't want to be explicit.
If we have to ask, we'll never know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I guess the premise would be like, it's like a future dystopic society, and like for reproduction work, they like take a bunch of handymen, and make it to where they can have children. And then that's what they reproduce. Okay, this isn't working out.
Keep that one in the percolator.
I'll keep gestating on that one.
Do you have a good song for it?
I don't have a jingle for that one yet.
Yeah, let's keep that.
Keep cooking that casserole.
Fuck.
You're off to a good start.
Yeah.
These are my questions. These are the correspondent questions.
Yeah, you can't see those.
Okay,
Yeah, don't cheat.
Yeah.
My bad.
We don't want to have our answers prepared. So are y'all good? Did y'all figure out how to hook up the audio?
What is meant by a Cleveland steamer?
Damn, this is
Lucian.
Talked about that.
Rude.
Hey, now hang on. Let's
Maybe.
talk about the elephant in the room. Who's missing the Super Bowl?
All of us.
You all want to watch the Super Bowl?
I was watching it before I came here.
Do you is that something you like to do? Like,
I find football pretty homoerotic, and It's like the biggest one.
And that's good, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, okay.
Fun.
Oh.
And it's like techier every year. It looks really cool. Justin Timberlake's doing the halftime show, so I was hoping they would bring in Janet for shits and giggles, and that would probably be nice.
Timberlake, did he used to be in Fatone's band?
Maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
Probably.
He did, actually.
I was trying to get drunk to prepare for this, really. That's just all I was.
Do you want to watch the Super Bowl?
I mean, I don't really have a rooting interest.
Do you don't have any money on
I'm
it?
intrigued by the fact that Tom
Shocker.
Brady makes out with his son, and for that reason,
That happens?
Yeah, he like made out with his son.
What?
Did y'all not
That's
see
a little
this?
hyperbolic.
Did you not see this? Did nobody see this?
No.
There's a video of him kissing his son in a really weird way. For too long.
Celebrities, am I right? What do you know? What do you
Sounds
know?
like somebody might scrub one out on your podcast. Tom Brady kissing his son in a really weird way. Touchdown.
No, I didn't really. There's a party going on that I want to go to.
Oh, that's fun.
Watching the Super Bowl.
Right
but
on.
The content of the Super Bowl itself doesn't.
That's a loud party.
Yeah, exactly.
So you didn't want to watch the Super Bowl?
No, I don't. I don't follow the football. If the Bears were in the Super Bowl, I'd watch it so that I could try and win my brother's love back.
Good effort, good faith effort.
No, I think football's going out. I think
it's on its way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I played football. I enjoyed it very much. It was my best sport of 3. But there's those videos of people getting concussions.
Right.
That's like, oh shit. Well, if you're going to start showing that,
this changes my thoughts on
then we
football.
can't. Yeah, then we're not really going to play it anymore.
I have a new opinion on it.
Okay, well, what's going to replace football?
Great question.
That question wasn't on the paper.
Euchre.
Yeah.
My vote.
Or Rook is the version we play here.
I've heard of Rook,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't know what just some slight rule derivations.
Different deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On Euchre, is it very similar? Is Euchre a card game?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
You take tricks like Rook,
Yeah.
but you use
Oh.
a standard deck instead of the Rook.
Yeah, I went to college with a lot of Ohioans. They played the euchre.
Really?
Call them Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Which, if you're unaware, is a tree nut. Which doesn't make for a very imposing sports mascot.
Right.
They are poisonous, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're
They
poisonous.
are, yeah.
Yeah. So they're insidious more so than...
Yeah, you're right. Like,
But
they have a poisonous interior.
so you just have to get the opponents to consume you?
Yes, to bite into you. It's a Pyrrhic victory. You lose a lot in the process. Unless it's like one of those Buckeyes. Have you seen the ones that are like chocolate and peanut butter?
I have.
Oh, those are fucking delicious.
Yes, I have enjoyed them in my mouth.
That would be a good mascot. It'd at least be a crowd favorite. Do you imagine if you were shooting Buckeyes into the audience like T-shirts, like
There's-
chocolate ones?
There's 2
Could
high
be.
schools in rural West Virginia. That's Polka High School, and they're the Dots. And their like arch rival is the Nitro. That's the city name, the Nitro Invaders.
Really?
So
And the polka dots.
and the Polka Dots playing the Nitro Invaders. It's like, how do you get over that, huh?
There's a
This is a great goddamn country.
there's a high school in New York called the Potsdam, New York, but their high school mascot is the Stoners. So they're the Potsdam Stoners. That's a real
Wow.
thing. It's pretty cool, I thought.
Is it supposed to be a reference to like Masons?
Yeah, this like the town was built by Masons.
But stoners,
Didn't age well.
that might be a bit of a stretch.
Right. Right.
If I wrote a school in a script, and a kid, the kid that we care about plays for the Polka Dots, you'd be like, get the fuck out of my house. Polka Dots.
Right. Right.
Okay, buddy.
Right.
Does something smell like it's burning?
I smell that too. Maybe
If
we're all
y'all
having
burn down the apple
strokes.
shop,
Maybe we're about to
gonna
have a
a
stroke.
problem.
Like Pat Robertson had a stroke today. Speaking of strokes.
Oh boy, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. 'cause
That's what's
if
say
you can't say
asbestos.
something nice about somebody.
I made a
say it loudly on a podcast. That's my
Man, if he ends up running into Jesus when he goes, he's in for a big surprise.
Yeah,
I agree. I used to watch.
It's only the third time in history Jesus kicked someone in the nuts. Come here, Pat.
It would be worth it dying with Pat just to see that happen.
It would,
You'd
for
be
sure.
at the pearly gates with them.
Oh, this is going to be fucking good. Get close, get close. Why is Jesus stretching his quads?
Smiling.
You ready for your ultimate reward?
Yeah, he's pretty bad. But the world's probably a better place without him. So
I tried to on Twitter. I tried to work in a Billy Squire joke
about Pat Robertson.
Pat Robertson on the stroke, Billy Squire.
Right,
I
right.
couldn't finesse it exactly. But
I see where you're going.
There's potential there.
Yeah, I see where you were going.
Insensitive, maybe, but
topical
funny.
and
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
We're a joke factory. We make jokes in TV shows.
They like to think so.
Feels like these cameras are fired up.
I am. Yeah, we're in a mess here.
We got 30 minutes audio of just shooting the shit.
We call it garbage.
Uh,
Do you are you ready to fire it up?
Let's do it.
Are we ready? Well, we've already started, actually. That's the way podcasts start these days.
We're a fan of the hard cold open.
We're a fan of the hard cold open.
That's all right. That's kind of our trademark.
Yeah, we're known
We
for
have a
our
trademark.
hard cold opens.
I call it a chilly opening. Well, let me fire up. Here we are on the Trillbillies Worker Podcast.
Workers' party.
Workers
Close.
Party.
Yeah, one crucial word.
Hell yeah.
It's the party.
Don't forget the party.
Don't forget the
Yeah,
party.
please.
Tell me, why did you guys start this podcast? Why are we here in this cool room?
I want to do the classic. Anybody want to fill this?
You're kind of the Quavo of our group. Why don't you
Am I?
kick us
Oh,
off?
damn.
We riff off of you.
Well, let's see. We started the podcast about this time last year. It was just like right after the inauguration. There were several things going on in the sort of mass media that were just pissing us off in general, like the sort of attention given to J.D. Vance and Hillbilly Elegy. But I think more than that was just the...
It's a great book. Did you guys
Yeah.
did you check it out?
We thumbed through it.
Yeah, we thumbed through it.
read the cliff notes.
I read it actually front to back, which is... if I'm the Quavo, it's because I do the homework.
Sure.
On
The
this
only
podcast.
one.
Yeah.
You earn your seat.
I earned my seat. I earned my captain's chair.
I just briefly want to say, I thought once I learned that about your personal vendetta, justifiable vendetta against J.D. Vance, I ordered that book when everyone was like, "Oh, that's the book you got to read."
Uh-huh.
And before I could get to reading it, I read two things that was like, "Oh, actually, it's bullshit. Don't read it." I was like, "Oh, good."
I've already bought
So,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I burned it.
I do that a lot.
Perfect.
So there's that, and then I think the sort of like larger thing was just this presumption that you could label an entire region Trump country. And I know there's a lot of Trump supporters here, obviously, but there's a lot of people that aren't. But I think even more than that, we wanted to get into just like how you think about a place and why it is the way it is from a different perspective that was missing from mass media. Our perspective is hard left. I mean, we're far left. We're leftists. We're socialists, and I think that's been our that's what we think is unique and is not getting offered in a lot of these.
But with dick jokes.
But with dick
Sure.
jokes.
It's not leaving that out.
It's
Right.
kind of
Socialism.
redundant, but thank you for chiming in.
Right. It's the whole thing of comedy. You don't actually. The dick jokes are implied.
Socialist has been said.
Okay.
Right. We cleared the air with that. And so.
Just got out in front of that.
Right.
I really appreciate that because, and I've learned from talking to people this weekend that it's even kind of a misnomer to call it Trump country, as though all of the people here are, first of all, it's painting them with a wide brush, but as though everyone has felt this way for a long time, that it's been building up to this. And it seems much more the case that it's been a pretty blue voting region that finally was fed up and only vote. A lot of them did vote for Trump, but it's because they were misinformed, largely because of the fact that he's often full of shit.
Right. Well, I think that misinformed, but I think even more than that, I think people are pretty fed up with the way things are. And if you can draw any lessons from the Trump vote here, it's that it was I would say, an anti-establishment vote, or at least that's what we were saying around the time of the election.
Yeah.
You know, I think since the election, I don't know how much I buy into that, because I think it's just the same people who have been voting for the Republican Party for a long time. It's Bush voters, it's Reagan voters.
Well, I mean, that's something I love about our modern society is that you guys can get together and, you don't have to ask anybody's permission. You basically have a grassroots radio show and you get to voice, these opinions from deep in the heart of Appalachia, which is a great thing. If this country had that a long time ago, I think we would have a few more things figured out.
Yeah, that's one of the best things. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we've all been doing the radio for a really long time, all three of us, and it's honestly a pretty powerful medium. We can't get fired, and that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? We don't have bosses when it comes to the media thing.
I intend to use very foul language with no repercussions.
Exactly. But then there's also the whole thing, all three of us are also involved in this show here that takes phone calls from people whose family members are incarcerated in the prisons around here, and it's and it cuts out it cuts out the middleman, which is the prison itself, which charges people to actually make phone calls in and out of a prison, or at least out of a prison. And so it's it provides a link of communication to people. And I hate to use this sort of corny metaphor, but you're literally broadcasting to people through walls, these walls that our society has created, sometimes arbitrarily, sometimes not. But regardless, we're still able to reach them. And podcasting is sort of much the same. It's sort of the same. You obviously need an internet connection to listen to it.
But still, yeah, it allows the it allows the working party, which is a very smooth segue into my next question, to bypass the channels, the corporate channels,
right,
which is very healthy. And that next question is, what is your name about, the Trillbillies, and what does that have to do with a workers' party?
Well, Tom?
Yeah, well, like we were talking about earlier, the trill part is just a southern rap term that we kind of co-opt. And then, just to play on hillbillies, and then the workers' party just to give it a nice red.
It was literally
touch.
cooked up in about 5 minutes in a group text message.
Yeah, we may shorten it to the Trillbillies. Seems a little ostentatious. But
yeah, but it's I think it denotes that we are about something. We do have a message, for better or for worse. And sometimes that gets lost in the irreverence and all that other stuff. But
well, and before we get to any more dick jokes, what is the message? Can you sum it up?
Yeah,
I think we really just wanted to let everybody know that socialism is not this rigid campaign. I think that was you said that in the paper, the Herald Leader, when we were talking about it, and I thought that resonated for me anyway. That it can be fun, and we can.
Well, and it doesn't have to. I mean, I've learned a lot about it, in this time of political unrest as well. And I've learned that, for me, it focuses mostly on simply universal health care.
Right.
And, the incredible morass of problems that we're facing and the hardships that all of our citizens are going through regarding that. We don't have to, become a European country from last century to just give everybody health care, which is a socialist practice.
Right.
But it's people are so afraid of they still remember the propaganda from earlier world wars where they're like, socialism.
All right.
Why don't we become red commies? Well, hang on.
Yeah.
Right.
What if we just cover your broken arm? Would that be okay?
It's not a revolutionary gesture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
think we also are just trying to contextualize a little bit this Trump country shit, as in this area has been like, I mean, our history is in labor movement. And so a lot of us came to our politic through this understanding of labor organizing. And I think that's a pretty central piece of current socialism, is that labor is where our power is. That's
true. It's I love it. I mean, I wish that I was your age and I lived here, because I'd get kicked off this station that we can't get kicked off of. I would figure out a way. I'm going to burn this goddamn thing down.
I have been officially written up.
Yeah, that's true. I was too.
On the radio station.
Yeah. I vaped weed in here one time and got in a lot of trouble for that.
From
the manager.
The
from the people here.
Yeah,
okay.
The cops showed up when somebody played an Andrew Dice Clay tape one time.
That did happen.
There was like a standoff
in the early '90s. There was a literal standoff, like a cop standoff.
Wow.
Because someone was playing Andrew Dice Clay.
Is the door locked downstairs?
Who knows? It's Super Bowl. Everybody's busy. It's fine.
Since we are also on camera, I just want to say that I did not eat any psilocybin mushrooms, and I'm grateful to the police for all they do to protect us and serve us.
Good.
Keep the narcs at bay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I just played Bikini Kill. That's why they wrote me up.
That makes sense.
We won't rat you out.
Can I ask you what? So when you had this idea, you came up with a cool name that means something, and where did you kick it off? What was your first episode about?
You might guess, JD himself.
JD Vance.
Yeah. And we've kind of been pigeonholed there. We've been trying to escape that ever since that first episode.
Yeah, every time JD's in the news, somebody's atting us on Twitter.
It's like our free bird.
JD. Yeah, it's our free bird. Yeah,
but we've got some other good songs, like Tuesday's Gone. You know, we got some other episodes that are about on that level.
You know, it's really hard. Your second book.
Yeah.
And let's just see what happens to old JD. He may take care of the situation for you.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
very right.
Hopefully.
He might try to get into like speculative fiction or like science fiction or something, and then.
Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, could you imagine a speculative fiction book written by J.D. Vance?
Work that up for next episode. Yeah. Complete with theme song, please. That's got to be your thing.
I got you.
A little ditty.
Yeah.
We kept saying he was posturing to run for office, and he finally did come off of that horse and say he wasn't going to run for office. So at least there's that.
Did I read? Isn't he from Ohio?
Yeah.
Fucking Buckeyes.
Oh man.
Buckeyes.
And he doesn't. He's the kind of Buckeye with no peanut butter inside.
With no peanut butter.
That's the worst
You're like,
possible.
oh man.
Poison. Yeah.
So I've had such a rich education while we're here working on our show. Talked to all kinds of people and heard a lot of firsthand accounts of what a mess that a lot of the region has been left in, with the coal industry sort of, pretty much shutting down to a trickle. So who do you think is going to have the solution to the problems here, and who doesn't? How are we going to get this neighborhood back on track?
That's a great question, Nick.
I think it's very much an open question. For our project, we think Appalachia needs big government, right? We think that the sort of FDR-style social democracy served us well during that era, and that something that we, talk about is the efficacy of that, for today.
Yeah.
Right.
New deal.
Which is such a. Those are such bad words that you just said. They make people gasp.
Right.
Well, we did say there were curse words on this show.
That's true. But I mean, I agree with you that the people are in trouble, and the local fixes don't seem to be coming in to save the day.
Well, I think it goes farther even than this sort of big government as an answer, because. Or at least for me, I think we also believe in some things like reimagining doing away with the police state and reimagining like a new criminal justice system and stuff like that. You talk about the opioid crisis. Well, this is pretty much like sort of ground zero. And it's being treated in the same way we've sort of traditionally treated addiction and drugs. The police state is responding to it, putting people in prison for it. And and so, earlier I mentioned the show we do where we broadcast calls to prisons around here. I mean, there's a lot of prisons around here.
Let me make sure I have this straight. You're basically to bypass the shitty rule that prisons make prisoners pay to have a human relationship over the phone. You bypass that by allowing the relatives to call in, and then the prisoners listen to the podcast.
Well, that's a different thing from the show. They could listen to the podcast if they wanted to. But it's a different show that we do on the station. We do it in this room actually, but yeah.
They can buy radios in commissary, and so we've even heard tale of people who don't have radios. Other guys will put the radio up to the vent system, and so the messages will get through the vents somehow.
Right.
That's
powerful stuff.
That's some badass Robin Hood action right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think something that's pretty wild about that show is that almost all the people who call in are women, are supporting. I just feel like it creates a whole new narrative about who's serving, who in our communities are serving when people are locked up. I mean, probably the worst is when kids call in and read their ABCs or talk about their last birthday party or their T-ball game. I mean, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. Well, that begs the question. I've been so grateful to get to come here and meet people firsthand and hear about the history and what the problems are right now, because I'm getting really different information than sort of the picture that the media is painting. So can you talk about, what is the story getting wrong on behalf of the national media?
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that for a second.
Well, even the raw numbers we've talked about often on the show is that most people here aren't voting at all. Voter turnout in the South is extremely low. There's tons of disenfranchisement in Kentucky. People who've ever had a felony before can't vote ever again. It's an astronomical number.
Compounded by way of the 7th biggest prison population in the world.
Wow.
As a standalone country.
Yeah. So there's just the numbers that we've created, this Trump situation, whatever. It's statistically impossible.
Did I hear that? I could be wrong. I think I heard that only 23% of the people voted in the presidential election.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but that's probably about right.
Yeah, sounds right.
Well, then, even if it was 100% for Trump, you can hardly call that Trump country.
Yeah.
It's like saying he won the popular election, which is a sad joke.
Yeah. Yeah. There were more votes for Trump in Staten Island.
Yeah.
Than all of Kentucky, probably.
That's a great statistic.
Well, I think really what bugs us so much about that, by calling it Trump country, you're overlooking what people actually respond to and what they actually want. You know what I mean? Racism and these other things are a problem for sure, but they're a problem everywhere because this is America.
Have a monopoly.
We live. Yeah, we don't have exactly. And so I guess really by us sort of railing against that, we're railing more against this sort of liberal notion. I've really seen this written about the most among liberals, that they get what they voted for.
The Frank Rich
yeah,
when he was no sympathy for the hillbillies.
Right. Yeah.
We just powered the goddamn Industrial Revolution, made your career possible, but carry on, Frank.
Right.
Yeah, and you powered the Industrial Revolution and all of the years since.
Yeah, so it didn't stop there.
Yeah,
right.
Currently.
They kept the lights on between that revolution and the 2 world wars. I think they were still burning electricity.
Right.
Well, so maybe let me rephrase. What do you think that the national story is leaving out? Because I agree. This is my first time being in a place where that is inhabited by so-called hillbillies, which also includes Trillbillies, Metrobillies,
right?
And I met a few Chillbillies. I don't know if that has been coined.
We moonlight as Chillbillies.
Yeah. I feel like a pretty Chillbilly vibe in this room now.
That's good.
But and by attaching any group of people to Trump, so many stereotypes immediately spring to mind. association with that particular person colors a people's mentality, lack of education or education, gullibility, just sense of prejudice of like, oh, those people don't appreciate truth. They're prejudiced in one way or another. And what's wrong? How are the people here different than that? What's being left out of that stereotype?
Here's what I think. I wouldn't necessarily say that the mass media, whatever you want to put into that, New York Times, MSNBC, and all this other stuff. I don't know if it's so much that they leave stuff out, or that they're leaving out anything in particular, because they do good stuff sometimes. Like the New York Times, I think, has done a pretty good job at reporting on, violations in the mine industry in terms of like environmental stuff like that. But I guess it's more like, and this is not my strong place. I don't really have I don't really feel one way or the other about it, but like a classic example would be like Nick Kristof, who works for the New York Times, who I remember a few years ago he like dropped in to Jackson County, but it was Breathitt County, but it was Jackson. And he did this story on SSI benefits, Social Security benefits, and basically the whole frame of the story was about how people are abusing the system and the system is rigged and all this other stuff. And it's just like, yeah, like that happens in any system. That happens in any bureaucratic agency. But like, what are you trying to prove? You know what I mean? Like, what is the message you're trying to send? Is it that people here are a bunch of freeloaders? And if so, imagine how that gets taken up.
Meanwhile, the Pentagon loses $128 billion in their couch cushions.
Yeah. Exactly.
Scant mention.
Yeah, and why didn't you go to Memphis? Why didn't you go to Albuquerque to tell that story?
Right. Well, it's geared towards us. They're trying to get a specific, and I've noticed this a lot. They mostly with liberals, and they do it because what they're trying to do by doing that is they're trying to pander to a conservative audience and to a conservative ideology. They're saying, look, we realize as liberals that this kind of stuff goes on, and we're willing to help you with it. Meanwhile, the conservatives are literally just chopping that shit. Like, they're getting rid of it wholesale. And it's like something that we've been talking about all year in 2017 was how like liberals in the Democratic Party walk into this trap time and time again. Like, you cannot pander to these people. Right. They want blood. They're out for your blood. And I don't know.
I think of Bill Clinton's presidency. Bill Clinton made a career off being too conciliatory to Republicans. They still shut the government down on his ass multiple times. You know
exactly.
What I mean? It's like these people can't be reasoned with.
They can't.
Neil Gorsuch is sitting there smoking a fucking cigar, listening to this, sagely nodding his head. Got that right, Tom.
Yeah.
Well, let's back it off of that kind of question. Like, let's say I just walked in here, and you guys said, "Hey, I love you're Nick Offerman. I loved you on the George Lopez program. You want to come talk to us?" And I would say, "Yeah, you guys really seem like my people." I noticed, I heard some stuff on the street about the coal industry. Sort of set up these communities and had a huge controlling interest, and now that's kind of going away, and people are having a hard time. I heard about some sort of brown water issue over in Martin. So can you guys give me sort of nutshell the climate, the situation around here? What are the problems?
It feels like the nutshell is that we are like the poster child for capitalism as an experiment, just not shaking out.
And we have no control
Didn't
over.
Shake out.
Yeah, we have. There is no autonomy here. I mean, in the sense that like Martin County is a good example, where you had a coal industry that didn't invest in any kind of infrastructure. The infrastructure that they did invest in, they owned, and when they left, it just sort of like fell into disrepair. But there's also the sense that we literally don't have any control. Like, what was it? April last year, our county judge tried to pass just to raise money for the county, tried to pass a tax on every gas well in the county.
Which this county holds 10% of the state's oil and gas reserves. So, I mean, that's
right.
Big revenue.
And so they held this meeting down in our fiscal court. That's where they meet, the county government. and to get community input on this tax. Well, the oil and gas industry, the Kentucky Oil and Gas Association, they brought in like 80 oil and gas workers and essentially like intimidated the fiscal court or county government into not passing this tax. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, we just don't have any, like, all the community members there pretty much were uniform in wanting it. And all these people who weren't from here, who work in central Kentucky, I've never even seen them, they came in here. I was talking
Terrence was out on
really
Main Street cussing people out.
Yeah, I was trying to fight people.
Yeah, we had to calm them down. We had to rein them in. I mean, our elected officials sat there and just took this just berating from all these paid workers from other parts of the state. They ended up, at the end of it, they had to just call an executive session and slink down the fucking back steps of the courthouse to escape the room.
Yeah.
They couldn't even face just to pass this, like, it's a really small tax.
Right. It's a classic example of how, and it's not just Eastern Kentucky. I mean, this is all over. I mean, I'm from New Mexico. It's the same thing. It's like the fossil fuel industries. They own pretty much everything. They'll give you a degree of freedom, and, but if you even a little bit buck up against that to try to cut into their profits, they're going to.
Yeah, as long as you don't mess with their bottom line.
Right.
Man, I think I've been educated in a big way, and I've heard a lot of voices of hope, and I'm thrilled to death to run into you three, because one thing I love about the podcast format is that there's a realism to it. It's not polished. We're sitting here having a sloppy conversation like we would be if we were at a bar.
Right.
And also this scotch is delicious.
Extra sloppy in here.
Yeah. And, that gives me, I'm sure there are young people, within earshot that are listening to this, and just they're much more prone to listen to you and trust you because you're not wearing a suit. You're not standing behind a pulpit. You're just some guys and gal hanging out, giving your honest opinion. Speaking of honest opinions, I can't visit a Kentucky podcast without bringing up Wendell Berry. Are you guys who here is pals with Wendell Berry?
Tanya spent the night in the governor's mansion.
Yeah, I've never even met him, but Tanya's like buds with him.
Oh, you were at the sit-in,
yeah,
the sleep-in.
The sleep-in, I was there.
I enjoyed that on the news.
Books are dedicated to Tanya.
Yeah, it's true.
That's not really true.
That's not true, and I've seen it. I've literally seen it.
You may
with
not
them.
be the only Tanya in his life, right?
Exactly. I know. Someone texted me and said, "Holy shit, Wendell just dedicated a book to you," and I said, "No, it's his wife. We spell it the same."
Well,
it's TA, but it was the whole list of people that were in the governor's office.
It at least opens up the options. I'm not saying it's not.
I do say that he only remembers my name because it's his wife's name.
You know what? With a luminary like Wendell Berry, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
He can call me Tanya.
Yeah, we have written back and forth. Do you write him?
I have written him. Yeah, we have corresponded.
Yeah. He's a cute.
You did the documentary, right?
I helped produce it.
Oh, that's
and the peak. I mean this sincerely. The peak of my career will forever be in that documentary we made about Wendell Berry called Look and See by a great filmmaker named Laura Dunn. There are some shots of my hands and tools making a walnut stool while Wendell talks about an artist as someone who sees two things that ought to be put together, and he puts them together like a novel or a film or a stool. And while he says that, I'm making a stool. And every time I see it, I cry my eyes out. Because for me, he's the most important writer living. I think the answers to so many of our social ills around the world, but certainly in America, are to be found in the common sense in his writing, It's all based on old-fashioned values, respecting the land that we use, loving one another equally. It's not complicated. Yeah, I mean, if I gave a speech at the Sundance Film Festival a couple of weeks ago as part of, I was number 14 of 15 of there were some incredibly powerful, mostly women, and also Common was there. But Maria Bello put together this spoken word thing with 3 young ladies. It was called the Respect Rally. It was the 1-year anniversary of the Women's March. And I was incredibly flattered to be asked to get up and say something. And whenever that happens, I open with some Wendell Berry, and then I flap my gums about it, just so that I'm not completely plagiarizing. And then I close with some Wendell Berry.
Yeah. Tried and true.
And they keep asking me back, so I guess it's working. But I said if I just had a career of reading his work to people, I would so happily accept that job, because nobody's done it better than he.
Yeah. He,
In fact, if it's okay with you guys, I'll spend the rest of this podcast
reading
this book aloud.
The unforeseen wilderness.
Perfect.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. It'd be like when, what's his name, used to read The Great Gatsby in front of crowds.
Who was it?
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, Andy Kaufman.
It would be just like that.
It would be just like that.
Well, when I heard you were going to be here, I thought, you know what, we should just try call Wendell. We should just call Wendell while he's here. But I found out Wendell had a little fall recently.
Yeah, I don't think he's answering the phone right now.
Yeah.
And don't ever compare that hack Salinger to Wendell Berry. So a lot of the future is going to involve experimentation and, sort of throwing a lot of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. But I mean, what do you guys, you live here, what do you think, is there an ideal messenger for this place? What who do you think is going to drive the vanguard towards future success?
Well, I mean,
It looks like you're ready to take that mantle up.
Does it?
yeah, it's me.
Does their name begin with the letter T?
Yep.
They answered all the questions. Well, I think what you said about, Wendell said it best, that artists have a big role to play in how we're communicating and understanding the world. Artists take 2 things that need to go together and put them together. They do a lot to best understand, kind of break down, retell, and communicate the world, and a lot of hope, like you've talked about. So I think artists have a big role.
I do too. I mean, have you guys seen that Higher Ground show?
We have, yeah.
I went and saw that thing the other night.
We heard you played
Did
Roger
they put on
briefly.
a show for you?
Oh, you read my resume. They did. I mean, it was, sort of a dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they sprang it on us. We didn't know it was going to happen.
Wow.
And, as those things go, it started, and it's a very honest theater group. It's a it's the community, so it's not trained professionals. So you have a wide spectrum of talent. And they got up and started it without any fanfare. And there was a sense of, I guess we're going to sit here and watch a show. And I knew a little bit about it. But as it started, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Some community theater.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
How many are there up there? And within a minute, I was completely enwrapped,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was so hooked and just fascinated, and like it made me cry a few times. The music was astonishing, and the way they dovetailed the music and the spoken word stuff together. And I couldn't get a straight answer. When it was over, I said, "Who edited this?" And they said that they sort of threw the order together just last minute, like right when we got there. But somebody is influencing them, and maybe it's Robert Gipe, but it's the brevity. It's really good writing because each piece is just long enough to give you the full emotion of the moment, and then they jump to the next one.
Right.
And if they were even the slightest bit indulgent, or narcissistic about it, it would be too long and it would be a drag. But it's so well done. And I'm so excited that I hear that they've gotten some grants to do stuff with it. And
Yeah.
I mean, that fits into what you're saying, is that that art is successful and effective, and I'm going to write something about it and like tell the world I saw this great show. You should check out if you get a chance, and that's how I think that's one of the ways in the perception of this place is gonna be healed, is simply by the kind of thing you guys are doing, where they're like, oh, I heard this podcast out of Trump country, and they didn't sound super Trumpy.
Yeah.
That's what we were shooting for.
Yeah, I think our
Super
ground.
Trumpy.
You can use that blurb on your poster.
Oh, okay.
Not super Trumpy.
Not super
Okay,
Trumpy.
now we got Nick on. We
Nick
can
off
take
the
JD Vance's blurb out.
They're probably on their 10th production, if not more, over there.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so, do you know who? I know I played Roger in a scene, but do you guys know Roger?
No, I just saw Gap's Instagram post or something.
Okay, because they are all based on, there was one sad story about a father who lost his son, and the true father was sitting across the room, and so it really is woven in with the real lives of these people.
Yeah.
Well, they're all of those productions are put together by story circles. I mean, I'm sure they told you this. They hold story circles. Robert Gopp used to work here at Apple Shop. It's still that's still how a lot of art is made around here, is through story circles. Back last year, we were trying to put a lot of pressure on our local government to start a clean needle exchange, try to figure out some medical services for people, just a very simple clean needle exchange. And they put together, we had a couple little potlucks, story circles, and then they put together a play called Needlework, which the poster for it was someone crocheting or cross-stitching. So it wasn't as spooky to come out to a play called Needlework. That's like a cross-stitch.
We call that a bait and switch.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did.
Winthrop, look at this poster. Let's go see this nice crocheting. Is it a musical?
It was indeed a musical.
What do you all have any questions for me while I'm here amongst you?
Well, I was hoping I'd get to just introduce you as Megan's husband. That was my plan.
Let's do your intro now, and you can cut it up front.
No, it's okay.
There's nothing I'd rather be called than Mr. Mullally.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a better moniker, I'd like to hear it.
No, that's it.
Yeah. When I became Mr. Mullally, I said, by God, I've made it far above my wildest dreams.
Yeah, leveled up.
It's a gig I'd like to hang on to.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I saw you recently, just the first round on the new Will and Grace, and I was surprised y'all didn't have a scene together.
We did at the very end. Did you?
Apparently, I missed it.
Your DVR.
Well, you were in there a couple. I was at my mom's catching it live.
Did you fall asleep?
Well, you were on a couple episodes, right?
Well, I was on one in 2003.
Oh, I see.
I played a plumber, which is appropriate. And then this time around, they cast me as an attractive person, which is why it's a successful comedy. And we do have. I mean, it's the final joke of the show, is an exchange that we have.
Oh, I missed it somehow. Damn it.
Quite funny.
Wasn't the people that did Will and Grace the ones that worked with Johnny over in Vico?
Yeah, we damn near got our own sitcom.
Yeah, reality TV.
Yeah.
What?
It was going to be a reality
Yeah, I
TV.
think it was
yeah,
reality.
you're right.
On
Yeah,
Bravo.
a reality show.
This isn't Friends of Cole.
No. The producers of Will and Grace, this is how the folklore
You're the
goes.
first person I've shopped Friends of Cole to. So.
That's all you got. That's all yours if you want it.
Yeah, you have it.
I'm still listening.
But just up the road in Perry County, the smallest municipality in the country with a fairness ordinance is there, and the mayor of that town is an openly gay hairdresser, and his shop and the city hall are kind of right on the same little strip, and so he's constantly just running back and forth in his apron. It's
Wow.
it's very cute.
It's a good show.
Yeah, and he tried to work with them to figure it out, but and he got them to pay for a full park before they before he kicked him out of town.
That's what you got to do with these TV people.
Yeah. Yeah, I got some projects for you guys before you leave.
Well, this is a different category. We're not on an NBC budget here. But I mean, if you have like a loose hinge or something, I'll fix that right up.
Oh, there's enough of those in this building, for sure.
I'm terrific with a light bulb. That's not a euphemism.
Is it like a weed trick, like earlier?
No, I'm talking straight up.
Just with a straight up
illumination.
Nice. So yeah.
I forgot the original question.
I probably do. We have questions.
Oh.
I guess I do, but it's like, why are you here? Are we like sort of big picture? Is like humanity? Are we fucked or no? Are we? Is there hope?
Asking all the big questions.
Damn.
Sure. Clearly, you have some bit of idealism.
Hang on, my shrooms are kicking in. Gosh, I love that question. I was raised Catholic.
That's all.
Nice.
No, sorry, I'm waiting for my A camera to get into position.
Wow, I was raised Catholic.
I'm glad you asked that, Terrence. I was raised Catholic, and that didn't work for me. I was the head of the altar boys, and I read the readings from the gospel, and I dig religion in general. I think that we need our myths, we need our stories.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, people have them, whether they go to church or not. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we'll go crazy and kill our children, and that's to be avoided. In most cases.
In most cases,
as a
I was
general
going to say,
rule.
there's asterisk.
Yeah, and so I mean, I don't know. I'm really glad that my nature led me to be an artist, because I'm always maintaining the attitude of a student to sort of answer that question. But with all of the incredible vitriol that's being tossed around our country and our world today, I'm grateful. It always leaves me shaking my head. I get into loud arguments with my best friend about whatever injustice has been done today, and we never come up with any solutions because we're human beings and these things are complicated. It's never a black and white answer. And he's an artist, and we always say, well, let's just keep trying to make things with a message of love and affection, which is Wendell Berry says it all turns on affection, and we'll never know. When people argue religion with me, I say, just don't forget that every religion was written by us. They're stories that we wrote because we need them. We'll never know why did we weird mammals get opposable thumbs and consciousness. I can't imagine anyone's ever going to answer that question, but here we are.
I was going to say, we've built ourselves as being able to answer that question. That's our whole brand, so.
It is, but we'll not, everything we make, no matter how cool and astonishing it is, in another week, we're like, time to update your operating system.
Right.
Next year, now that invention's garbage.
Yeah.
I invested heavily in Betamax technology. I would have made it way earlier.
Well, you could. I'm watching this show on Netflix about the Unabomber. Mm-hmm. He had a few things to say about technology. No, you guys aren't on the same page as me.
No.
With the Unabomber. Okay.
No. Other than that, you called him a snack earlier on our text messaging.
I did say he was.
Like, are you on uppers?
I did say he could get it.
Bits out on the group text.
I did say he could get it.
Oh. He moved you in a visceral way.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. I mean that's beautiful about us. Like,
right.
We have philosophy, but we're also animals. And
right.
That
Yeah.
It will forever be a conundrum. We'll always be human beings, which means we'll always be screwing up.
Right.
And then we always get to. We don't go to a basketball game because anybody's ever going to play the perfect game. We go to see how well they can try.
Right.
And that's something I think that's beautiful, because I always make mistakes, and when I do, I say, I hope that mistake was beautiful, because then maybe I can get another job. But it's important, we're all fallible. We're all, trying to find our ass with both hands, and I think that notion would do us a lot of good in the State House and in the White House. That, like, hang on, can't we all be honest here for a second? We all know, like, it's on paper that the NRA bought your seat, Big Pharma bought your seat, and so on. Why are the people making our medicine in the goddamn White House paying people to give them the legislation they want so they can make as much money as possible making our medicine?
Right.
I mean, it's medicine, you guys.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, make shiny running shoes. Like, go nuts. Charge all you want for those. But our grandma's pills,
Right.
That's the kind of common sense I'd like to see more of, which is a product of my mushrooms are just kicking in. But I love you guys, and I think I love the way that the veins in my hand are the same as a sycamore leaf. And that's the same as a river delta if you look at it on Google Earth.
I was thinking the same.
Think about it.
Looking at it. I'm thinking, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go home and watch me some Unabomber.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got one convert.
Hey, I'm with you, man.
Oh, jeez.
Now, if I rolled into town and hit you guys up and said, what should I go eat? What would you tell me to go eat?
It would depend on the day and the time.
Yeah.
But are we talking right now or tomorrow?
I don't know.
Because you got to go to Joe Pack's Chicken in Isom.
Joe Pack's Chicken.
That's tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a fried chicken
fried
joint?
chicken. It's fucking great.
All right.
Highly recommend it.
And what else? What are the sides?
You can get coleslaw. You can get potato salad, I think.
They actually give you a
Green
loaf
beans.
of bread, like Betsy
beans.
Ross, like the whole loaf in the
Oh, yeah.
place you could get in the grocery store.
Was Betsy Ross known for giving out baked goods?
I guess that's right.
It's her lesser known.
Or lesser
largest.
or side project.
She didn't just sit around. I mean, she only had to sew that flag one time.
Yeah, right.
When you think of it, telling she was a flag sewer.
Got to stay at a job somewhere.
Yeah.
There's Kentucky beef burgers at this place called Thirsty Heifer. You can get a beer and a burger there.
Thirsty Heifer, copy that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty good.
I believe they also have alcoholic beverages.
Yeah,
They
get
do.
a burger and a beer there.
That's all I need to know. That's 3 meals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken, burger, chicken.
Yeah.
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 Well, I'm very grateful to you for having me and for what you're doing, more importantly.
Yeah.
Thanks for being patient with me, and keep up the good work. I'm a fan of the Workers' Party.
Oh, great.
Sweet.
And we're not Trumpy.
No,
Was that what it was?
not super Trumpy.
Not super Trumpy. There we go. I'm a fan of the Workers' Party. They're not super Trumpy. That's our blurb from Nick
on
Offerman.
Twitter.
Putting it on the
now.
Patreon.
I'll back it up.
Man, your
Tweet
word.
at you later.
It's on.
To corroborate our
we
story.
shot it on a TV show, so
Yeah, you're right. There are cameras
We're locked
here.
in.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, you said this was your first time here. Would you ever come back and visit?
I hope to. Yeah, I love it.
Bring Megan?
I've been all over a lot of Kentucky, but I'd never been to this part of eastern Kentucky. And I've been saying this all day. It's so beautiful here. You could cut out any 100 acres and then take it to where I come from in central Illinois, and it would be our dopest state park. Be like, you guys want to go over to Kentucky Park? Look at these hills. I mean, it's astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all super dreamy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
And yes, I will try to bring Megan. She
Please.
sometimes she sometimes loves to be with me, and then sometimes I am very gassy. And she says, why don't you go do one of your projects? So
Don't you have something to do?
I'll try and time it out.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, Joe Pax will definitely not help you there.
Well,
he's gonna give you some gas, but it'll be worth it.
We'll strategize around it.
Yes, strategize for sure.
In fact, we'll put Megan on the podcast while I go get chicken.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Perfect.
And they'll just walk back.
Yeah.
Work it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Smart.
Apologies in advance to the neighborhood for whenever that goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely come be on the podcast when you come back through. Bring Megan. You're actually not our first LA-based comedian to be on the show in the flesh.
Yeah.
How about that?
I'm not surprised. Who beat me out?
Brandy Posey. Do you know her? Have you heard of her?
No, but that I'm very ignorant to most cool things, so it probably means she's the greatest.
Yeah, she did stand up here in the theater, and she was on the show with us.
You heard it here first.
Great.
You have a theater here?
Yeah.
How many seats?
150. Actually, we just did a remodel, and a 6-year-old counted and said, "There's 149 seats in here."
Oh,
So.
It's really nice.
kids.
Yeah, we'd love to do a show with you here.
Well,
Book us.
I'm negotiating with Travis over at the what's that place called? The Benham Inn.
Oh yeah.
Used to be a high school.
I love the schoolhouse, and it's haunted. Did they tell you all the stories about it's haunted for sure?
I only heard that it was haunted, but I will, since we're buzz marketing here, had an amazing meal. They have a restaurant called The Lunch Bucket.
Mm-hmm.
They do a real nice job, and they were actually in the middle of a remodel, and I thought it looked. I've never seen an old, cool high school that you can now sleep in. And it's not for everybody, just for the fun and awesome.
Yeah. Well, did your what I love is that the room numbers coordinate with a graduation year from that school, and then they have the graduating class
Did they really?
picture on the door. Was yours like that?
They
don't have them all.
They would not let me go upstairs.
You weren't allowed upstairs?
No, I think they looked me up on YouTube.
Oh, the upstairs wasn't as nice?
No, they wouldn't let me go up there for real.
It's haunted.
Well, that's what's haunted is up there. They were probably afraid something bad would happen.
Yeah, you come back, we'll go with it. We should go and do an episode from there. We should exercise that shit.
The lockers are still up there. That's what's
Ghost
fucking
hunters.
haunted.
Yeah,
That's
Ghost
creepy.
Hunters with Nick Offerman and the Trillbillies.
Ghost hunting, yeah.
Well, they also have like a room where I might come play some songs, so we could do a
the gymnasium.
I'll hit them one night and then swing through here.
Yeah.
We'd love that. The
That'd be
Moth
cool.
is going to be here in May.
Damn, the whole podcast is coming.
Yeah, that's going to be this. I probably ain't allowed to say it, or I don't know what their deal is, but it's
Busted.
going to be yeah, busted. It's the smallest venue they've ever done.
That's really cool. I love that podcast.
Yeah.
I even have their books.
Oh, nice.
Well, perfect opportunity to come back.
All right, everyone, listen to this podcast. Tell your dad. Come check out The Moth, coming soon. And if you haven't scoped Brandy Posen's comedy on the computer world, check it out.
Yeah.
Brandy Posey.
Posey.
I'm talking about Brandy Posey's friend, Brandy Posen.
Brandy Posen. Yeah.
They're both excellent and funny.
Coming soon
Nice.
to the Offerman workshop.
That's right.
Well, thanks for joining us,
Yeah,
Nick.
thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks so much.
My pleasure. I have no slogan, otherwise I'd go Trillbillies.
There you go.
Well, thank you.
That's good enough.
Keep it tight.
All right. Well, that's a wrap.